Speedway, the home of the Supermodified. I almost forgot where I was, even though I've been there for the last 3 days. The first driver out on the track will be the number 42 of Carl Becker. Becker from Lansing, Michigan will take to the track first as he gets ready to go. Send him. Carl Becker. Carl Becker out on the track first. Becker out of Lansing, Michigan, driving the Wholesale Diamond Exchange Michigan Hill Gang number 42. And Becker coming up to speed out onto the backstretch. They'll get 2 warm-up laps and then go green. Actually, they'll go green the second time by. Try to keep it straight here. If you're watching on Twitch, you can go to supers.net/site/live for Supers Live, and you'll see track telemetry as well as the positioning of the drivers. So Becker comes around now to take his first warm-up lap at 19.545 for Becker. Carl a little bit squirrely through 3 and 4, crosses the stripe. He's on the clock now. Come across this through turn number 4 now. The Docker Titanium Roadster comes out of 4 and across the stripe, and it's a 17.471 for lap number 1. Lap 1 is 17.471 for Becker. Tracking good now through sector 1, a personal best, and wow, he pushes high through 3. That's going to hurt him as he crosses the stripe to complete his time trial run. 17.169 for Carl Becker. That'll be the lap that's recorded as his best here tonight in the Topless 200 time trials. On to the speedway now from Baldwinsville, New York, driving the BreezeGraphics.com, number 77, White Machine. It's the Breeze, Kevin Timmons. Timmons, owner of Breeze Graphics, and he's the one that's doing a lot of the great graphics out there for our broadcast as Becker brings it into the pits. Timmons starts his warm-up lap. Timmons had a pretty good run going on Monday night and then got a little sideways and ended up smacking the fence and dropping out of the race. A 17.067 the first lap for Timmons on his warm-up lap. And now he comes out of turn number 4, crosses the stripe, starts his time trial run. Here he comes now, way wide through 3 and 4, gets the front stretch wall, scrubs it. Lap number 1 in the books is 17.072. 072 for Timmons on lap number 1. Faster than Becker, but certainly wants to see a little bit more speed. He's having trouble getting through 3. He's way high off of 4, smacks the wall, and still clicks off a 16.823. 16.823 for Timmons will be his best lap. As he brings the Breeze Graphics machine in with a bent right side Nerf bar. He'll have to do some work on that thing before the heat races tomorrow. Out on the speedway now in the CPR Motorsports Exide Battery number 55 out of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. It's Steady Steve Callahan. Callahan in the 55 on the front stretch. Working to get some heat in his tires. Callahan comes out of 4, completes his warm-up lap. Oh, yeah, it's a 16.784. Now, some of these guys may try to work up the speed a little bit slower than others. Not a real issue on tires, degradation, as they call it in Formula One racing. Second warm-up lap is 16.611 as he picks up a lap with the best sector time right now in Sector 1. And he's on the green flag. Here he comes out of turn number 4. Hammer down. Looks pretty solid. Scrubs the wall just a little bit. A 16.329 for on lap 1. 16.329 for steady Steve Callahan. Callahan has had an off season this year. And has found the podium but one time and with one win. He wants to do well here at the Topless 200. Second lap in now, that's a 16.480. 16.480 slower on lap 2 for Steve Callahan. Steve's had some good finishes in the Topless 200, so he'll look to redeem himself after a rough non-wing season. Well, on the racetrack now is a driver that had a huge win last night in the Supers Nationals Empire State Super Series event. 50-lap wing Supermodified show here, won it. But an even bigger win, his first Supers non-wing Supermodified win just 2 weeks ago. Kyle Clark, beside himself with emotion after picking up a win. Kyle actually raced at Oswego Speedway in a super stock back some time ago, and coming back now as a member of the Supermodified Ultimate Pavement Racing Series. He's pretty excited to have gotten that first win. His fastest warm-up lap is 16.431 as Clark dives into turn 3 on the green flag. Out of turn number 4, the Disturbed Motorsports machine, nice run out of 4, crosses the stripe with a 16.273. 1.6273 on lap 1 for Kyle Clark out of Mexico, New York. Clark driving the Coors Light Silver Bullet out there. Kyle the Cobra Clark off of turn 4 to complete his time trial run, shoots across the stripe, and slower on lap number 2, a 16.361. 16.361 on lap 2 for Kyle Clark, and I guarantee he will not be happy with that time trial run as he was running in the 16.1s during practice earlier this evening. So on the track now, driver that we talked to earlier, your defending pole winner from Carrollton, Ohio, driving the Icings on Top machine. Is Keith Put One On You Powell. Powell, second in points this year, had one of the closest points battles last year when he won the championship by just 15 points over Rob Warren. Powell knows how to go fast. He is a master of the longer races. Now his warm-up laps were quite a bit slower, a 5.63 and a 6.04. And here he comes to complete lap number 1, a 16.654. Wow. Did not expect that out of Keith Powell. 16.654 for Powell. And here he comes on lap number 2, a 4.78. That's a little bit better, but wow, still not enough to go to the front out there. Keith Put One On You Powell struggling out there on his time trial run. So on top right now, Kyle Clark with a 16.273, Callahan a 16.329. Those are your two fastest drivers. But on the track right now, from Oswego, New York, in the Pabst Blue Ribbon Team Domination Motorsports number 9, it's the Dominator, Dominic Gioia. Gioia on the pole. What a huge win he had this year in the non-wing season. Picked up the 13th annual The Whistler Pete Trinka Memorial. An emotional win for him. That race honoring one of the longtime legends of Oswego Speedway, a Hall of Fame member at Oswego Speedway in upstate New York. And just remembered a guy that put a smile on a lot of people's faces. Right now, Dominic Gioia tracking in third place as he completes his second run, and still right there with a 16.358 on his second warm-up lap, but he's on the hammer. He's tracking fastest right now. Down the backstretch he goes, coming through turn number 3. Let's see what Gioia has as he comes out of 4 and crosses the stripe on lap number 1. Not quite enough, a 16.335. That's good enough for third quick. Getting through sector 1 and 2 and turn 1 and 2 better than anybody else right now. But there's a big mistake in turn number 3. Slides high on the racetrack, gathers it back up. That's going to hurt him. A 16.602 on lap number 2. So, wow. Talk about interesting turn of events here. 3s and 6s for these drivers. But on the racetrack now, the driver with the all-time track record, your 2017 Supers non-wing Goldcrest champion. From Pulaski, New York, driving the first to finish race servers, number 35, it's Rocket Rob Warren. Rob Warren on the racetrack right now as he begins his practice warm-up. And you can guarantee this is going to be a fast one. Just missed the front row last year. Just missed the front row in 2015. He wants to be up front. First lap time an 18.119. Now, that might sound awfully slow, but we can guarantee there's a reason for that. Rob's probably trying to get some brake heat so that he can go deeper into the corners as he comes out of turn number 4 to complete his second warm-up lap. Oh, a little squirrely there. And a 16.154 on lap number 2 of his warm-ups. He's on the green flag, and he's flying down the backstretch now. Warren tracking to be on top right now. The brakes are glowing on the number 35. First to finish race servers machine. Sparks flying off of turn 4, and it's a 16.305. 1.6305, a warm-up faster than his lap time. He's on lap number 2. He gets in the brakes a little sooner, scrubs the inside hub rail, and comes off of turn number 4, 16.435 for Warren. So a 3:05 is going to be the fastest lap for Rob Warren.
Out on the track right now, we got the 25 on his warm-up lap. Bob Gangwar coming around first lap, 18.275, a 1.8275. Looking to make somewhere between a 16.154 and a 16.273. Coming around for lap 2. Lap 2, the timed lap, 16.478. He gets a little bit of heat in the tires, a little heat in the brakes, and he comes around turn 1 and 2. Has a tiny wiggle on exit of turn 2. Dives her into turn 3, holds her tight right around the bottom hub rail, coming off the corner. And he runs a 16.235. 16.235, drifts up high on the exit of turn 2. A little loose down the backstretch, trying to get everything he can out of that hot rod. Coming around turn 3 and 4, he comes across this restart line, another little wiggle, and a 16.794, 16.794 for the last lap for Bobby G. 2 fastest laps, a 16.235 and a 16.478. So Bobby G with a 16.275, that puts him on the outside of the front row. A 2.35 puts him outside of the front row, ahead of Kyle Clark's real fast 2.73. I'm fairly certain everyone will be shocked by that time, as Bob's got a great car, but it's not known to be fast in the first 5 laps. He's known to run on the outside and try and make a position here and there, but that was a shock to get Bobby G. A 16.235.081 seconds behind the pole sitter. So we got the top 8 on the board. We got the 35 of Rocket Rob Warren with a 16.154. the 25 with a 16.235. Then we have Kyle Clark in third with a 16.273. He'll start a heat race. Then we've got the 55 of Steady Steve Callahan with a 16.329. Dominic Joya, he can run the heat races if he wants, but he's got a guaranteed starter spot. Since he's within a half a second of the top qualifier, he's got a 16.335. I'm willing to bet the Dominator will like to start on the inside of the second row, guaranteed spot. Going back to sixth, the 41 of Keith Powell. Keith Powell, not really known for a super fast car at the beginning of a race, but he also knows that you don't win the race at the beginning of the race. With his 16.478, I'm willing to bet that car will be able to run those kind of lap times, maybe a little bit slower, but the whole race. And we'll see if that car can run a 16.5 at the end of the race. Going back to seventh, we got 77 of Kevin Timmons. Breeze Graphics brings her in at 16.823. And then Bonsai Carl Becker in the 42 Michigan Hill Gang car rounds out eighth with a 17.169. We'll get him up to pace pretty soon. But again, there's your top 8 time trialers for the 2017 Topless 200.
Certainly